What's up, guys? It's Chase here, and today I am back with my trial tank. I would say Warden trial tank like I did last time I went over it, but I have the subclassing features enabled now. So, as always, let's go over the basics first. For the attributes, 32 go into Magicka, 18 into health, and 14 into stamina. For my food, I'm using Purifying Bloody Mara for the extra health and max Magicka. But if you want, you can use the Corrupting Bloody Mara. It does the same thing, but with a little bit of extra health recovery. My Mundus is the Lady Stone. I am a werewolf, and yes, you can become a werewolf on this build. I don't use it, but it is helpful because if you want to do the March of Sacrifices hidden bosses, they will be stronger if you're a werewolf. And then my banner is really good. So so for my taunt, this is really important. Going in Undaunted, you need to get both of these passives maxed out. For my taunt, I'm using Inner Beast. Inner Fire, morph it to Inner Beast. And then Bone Shield, morph it to Bone Surge. Don't worry about the Energy Orb. I replaced that. Oh, and for my race, I am in Imperial. By the way, I am using scribed abilities as well. If you want to figure out how to use these scribed abilities, you're going to have to stick around, because I won't show those until the end of the video. Only the real ones are allowed to see them. So if you stick around, then you're a real one. Alright, so I have my Enchanted Growth for my green balance. Every passive for all these class skill lines, except for Restoring Light. You only need the top one and the bottom one. Alright, so I have Polar Wind on my back bar. And then I've got Shimmering Shield. It's very important that you have both of these slotted on your back bar, though. So that way you can get the extra resistance from this passive. And then come over here for Mending, max that out, and then max out Master Ritualist. Okay, it is also very important that you are primarily a Warden for this. If you want full access to the build, you would have to primarily be a Warden and then subclass the Templar skill line. Because this build uses 2 skill lines from the Warden. So you have to be a Warden primary and subclass the Templars Restoring Light. Subclassing is a base game feature though, so you can look up how to do it. And now Leashing Throw. This is my pull. I'm going to show you how to get that in a little bit, but you need every passive for One Hand and Shield, every passive for Restoration Staff, and Blessing of Protection, morph it to Combat Prayer. Heroic Bonds, again, I'm going to teach you how to make this at the end of the video. For Soul Magic, you need to make sure you're doing at least half of the main story quest lines, because you have to max out the bottom passive and the top one. Don't worry about this one, because you're not slotting one of those skill lines, so that one's useless. But This one and this one, you don't have to have an ability slotted. Now, assault and support both need to be maxed out for this. So for my front bar, I have aggressive horn, or war horn morph it to aggressive horn. This gives the group resources and major force. Now, I have reviving barrier on my back bar. By the way, you can have either of these on your front or back bar, it doesn't matter. I personally like barrier on the back bar and warhorn on the front bar, but that does not matter. You can do it either way. But if you want, you can put barrier on the front bar for extra recovery. Like that. Alright, and now restorative banner. Or restorative banner. So I'm going to teach you how to make this in a little bit. Now, this allows me to bring the battle resurrection passive and use it into PvE. So I can use this passive in a PvE environment, but only if my banner is up. For my race, I am an Imperial. Now, I'm going to give you an alternative, because I know Imperial is a DLC race. So if you don't have Imperial, or if you just simply don't like playing Imperial, then you can go Argonian. Argonians will be good for this build too, because this is like a potion build slash healer tank hybrid, or a res build also. So I'm currently still working on this, but you need to get alchemy to level 50 so you can get medicinal use and snake blood maxed out. And then come to provisioning, max out gourmet and connoisseur. The rest of these are up to you, but I would save your skill points until you have everything that you do need for this build. Alright, and I believe that does it for the skills. Now let's go over the gear. So, okay, so for my potions, I'm using tripods. You can use the crafted ones or the crown ones, they're both the same, but you need tripods for this. Now, please note, it is very important that you copy both the quality and trait of the item. It has to be golded out, and it has to have the right trait, otherwise you will not have the capped resistance. So this, I'm using Kagranek's Hope. It's a sword with defending for Kagranek's Hope. This is a crafted set, by the way. And then I have a shield with reinforced and a staff with defending. The enchantments don't really matter. And then, well, these ones do. You have to have 1 stam recovery, 1 mag recovery, and 1 health recovery. And then protective on all of them. The traits do matter, but the enchantments don't really matter too much. Alright, so for my armor, everything reinforced. Everything reinforced and heavy. Okay, so I'm running Lucent Echoes. Alright, so this says you don't have to get the perfected if you don't want it. All it does is give you a little bit of extra max health, but it does help. Because max health means bigger shields and bigger healing. Alright. So Lucent Echoes gives you 4% healing taken, minor Aegis at all times, reducing your damage taken from dungeon, trial, and arena monsters by 5%. 1206 maximum health, and then another 1206 maximum health if you got the perfected. And then this is for even a non-perfected. It says, well, you have more than 50% health, the critical damage and critical healing of any group members not wearing Lucent Echoes within 28 meters of you increases by 11%. While you have 50% or less health, your damage taken from monsters is reduced by 20%. And then for my... Okay, so maybe I should tell you, this is crafted. So you can pick this up pretty much at any time you want. This is crafted. This comes out of Lucent Citadel, which is a trial. So you can do it on normal if you don't feel comfortable doing a veteran trial, but you won't get the perfected that way. Now, Lucent Echoes is crucial for this build. You need to get that 5-piece bonus for that set. And I would recommend getting the armor pieces, because the weapons and jewelry are actually a lot harder to farm, so I would recommend getting them I would recommend getting the armor pieces for Lucent Echoes, and then the weapons and jewelry for the crafted set, since those tend to be a lot harder to farm. Now for my monster set, I'm wearing Engine Guardian. This comes out of Darkshade Caverns 2. You need this. You absolutely need Engine Guardian, because I have really bad sustain unless I'm constantly heavy attacking, so you need Engine Guardian. Look at my stamina. It restores it when I block too. Speaking of blocking, it is very important that when you block, you are on your front bar. You cannot block on your back bar. You need to block with the shield. If you block with your staff, you're still going to get one-shotted because it's not an ice staff. You have to block with your shield. But you've got all heavy armor, you've got one hand and shields. That's all you need for the maxed out block mitigation. Now, champion points. I would advise getting this so you can level up the subclassed skill lines. This is optional. Like, pretty much all these are optional, but you need to max out Breakfall. You need this. 15 in here at least, or at least 10 in here, never mind. You need at least 10 in there. Yeah. Alright, because then you need to get 50 for this. And then 30 for Rashner. And max out Liquid Efficiency. Max out Steed's Blessing. Professional Upkeep. And Sustaining Shadows. Everything else is up to you. Alright, so in this, after you drink a potion, the cost of your Magicka and Stamina healing abilities used within 6 seconds are reduced by 75%. You need that. That's really good. So this you also need, otherwise you won't get the cap resistance on your shield. And you need cap resistance because this is made for tanking trials. So the hardest endgame content. Alright, now you need From the Brink. And then this one, I don't know how to pronounce that. And then you can come in here, max out all of these passives. You need Spirit Mastery. That is very important for this build. So, Spirit Mastery stays on at all times, unless you're going for a no death. Then it's your flex spot, and you'll put Rejuvenation. But if you're not going for a no death run specifically, Spirit Mastery stays on at all times. Now you need to get Fortified and Boundless Vitality. Come over to here, max out this, max out Hero's Vigor, max out Hasty in here, max out Sprinter, come in here, max out Nimble Protector, and then max out Bracing Anchor. And then get all these passives maxed out if you can. Alright, and now this is how you make my shield throw. You put a pull on it, Class Mastery, and Interrupt. And then for Mender's Bond, you want Generate Ultimate, Droid's Resurgence, which is what gives resources, and then Vitality. And then for your banner, you want Restore Resources, which will reduce the cost of your abilities, Wayfarer's Mastery, which is very important, because without this, the Battle Resurrection passive would not work in PvE. And then you need Heroism for the banner. So that pretty much sums it up for today's video. So I hope you enjoyed it. It's been Chase, and there will be another build coming up very soon, hopefully tomorrow. And I'm not going to give any spoilers on what it is, but it is one of your guys' favorite tank builds of mine. Alright, thanks for watching. It's been Chase, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.